going to rob me of my ability to walk, my ability to speak, my ability to eat, my ability to breathe. And if one thing was clear to myself and my family was that time was of the essence. And just as we recognize the need to live urgently, to hug today, to laugh today, to live today, to love today, we also recognize the need to act today. And that is why we are here today. Team Gleason has a saying, "Not quietly." The ALS Association says the time is now. We are telling the FDA today that the status quo is not good enough. They need to do everything in their power to speed the search for a cure. We are here urging members of Congress to remind the FDA to work with the flexibility and, most importantly, the urgency required to fight this universally fatal disease. I've now been a part of this community long enough to see people who were diagnosed after me in their fights with ALS. A year ago, in the halls of Congress, I met Trickett Windler, a young mother of two, a wife, a friend, a relentless advocate. And before she passed a couple of weeks ago, she told her friends to continue the fight. And so we are here today on her behalf, on Tony Conway's behalf, on the behalf of so many patients who have been lost to this disease that we know we have the capability of solving. So we're not here just acting in their memory, we're here inspired by their fight. And everything we do must be done with the thought that every 90 minutes, another mother, another father, another wife, another husband, another son, another daughter will be lost to this disease. And so it's with that urgency today that we're asking the FDA to grant accelerated approval to GM6. Let's not force patients to wait another 2 years to have access to this treatment. We're not asking the FDA we're not trying to rewrite laws today. We don't need to rewrite laws today. We don't need a special exemption. All we need is the FDA to follow the directives issued to them by Congress in order to grant accelerated approval, to recognize the urgency of this situation and react with the same urgency we know will be required. Accelerated approval is not a new program. It's been around for over 20 years. Congress reiterated their commitment to accelerated approval in 2012 through the Food and Drug Administration Safety and Innovation Act. And they said, and I quote, they reinforced the agency's long-standing commitment to regulatory flexibility regarding the evidence required to support product approval for the treatment of serious or life-threatening diseases with limited therapeutic options. That is us. Here is a chance for the FDA to live up to their own directives. Today, we are simply asking to use the tools at their disposal with the urgency Congress had told them to act with. The urgency required and deserved by the families in this fight. We have a way to show a new way forward for drug development. As we all know, the status quo is not good enough. With GM6, we have a treatment that meets the FDA's own criteria for accelerated approval. It has met the standards measures of safety. Roughly 40 patients have received it with no serious adverse effects. Surrogate endpoints for efficacy have also been met. In a small trial, it had a significant effect on forced vital capacity, which we know is a predictor of survival. Because ALS is a complex disease, in order to meet the traditional standards for efficacy, it will take a large and lengthy trial. We don't have time for that. And accelerated approval was made for that specific situation. While we wait for confirmatory data, let's give patients the ability to have a fighting chance. Now, sure, after phase 1 and phase 2 trials, there still are risks. Well, there still will be risks after a phase 3 trial. And more importantly, we all know what the risks of inaction are. Accelerated approval does not mean we enter the wild, wild west. Data will still be collected, and approval will still be based on us receiving confirmatory data. If that data does not bear out, the FDA can still revoke their accelerated approval. But given the safety data, given the efficacy data, given the seriousness of the prognosis, given the urgency of the situation, isn't that a risk we are willing to accept? Yeah. Isn't that a risk the FDA is supposed to be willing to accept? Given the evidence from the trials, doesn't that make more sense than requiring people to wait to see the confirmatory data? Doesn't it make more sense than telling patients to sit quietly for the next 2 years? Too many people have already shown us the importance of acting today. The FDA has recognized that different conditions require different acceptance of risk. They have applied accelerated approval to cancer drugs and to HIV. They have this tool at their disposal specifically for situations like this. Just because ALS is not communicable does not mean that we can be complacent. So we are telling the FDA to act urgently, to act today, to act for all of the families in this fight, and to grant accelerated approval for GM604. Thank you.